Hey everyone, Chris here with more stories in cardboard. Today we're going to get back to the 1956 Topps football set spotlight. I know it's been a little bit since I did a video, just work life and family life taking up a little more time than usual, but wanted to get back with this. I'm really excited about this video today because of the 6 cards I'm going to show today, it kind of highlights one of the things that I really like about collecting, and that's kind of focusing on players that a lot of people have forgotten about or overlooked players that had great careers. And one thing that I think is often overlooked in the for cards from the 50s or players from the 50s is these guys, they didn't get paid a lot of money. And a lot of them either went to a better paying job or opened businesses and ran businesses. So for a lot of them, they had very short careers. And so I think a lot of times they kind of get overlooked for their actual achievements in football. So let's get started with this. The first card we're going to show is card number 67, which is Rogerzakkov. Now, it says Bob on here, and everything that I've found online, he goes by the name of Roger, and it's even signed his cards with that name. So he had a 6-year career, 4 with the Packers and 2 with the Detroit Lions. And he had a reputation during his playing days as one of the best linebackers in football. He was a 2-time first-team All-Pro, and 1 time he was second-team All-Pro, and was also a 3-time Pro Bowler. Now, he was a vital part. He got traded to the Detroit Lions in 1957, and he was a vital part of the defense that won the NFL championship that year for the Detroit Lions. Now, in 1958, he retired, and with his wife, he started a business selling O-rings from their home that was less than 1,000 square feet. And he built that business into the largest distributor of seals in North America, and that business is still going today. So this is just kind of a great example of someone who was a great football player, but saw better opportunities in the business world, so he retired from football to pursue those adventures. Next card we have is Dave Middleton of the Detroit Lions. I think I've said this before, but I really like that old school Lions logo. I think it's one of the better looking logos, and I love the red background on the Lions cards with the blue uniforms and the blue jerseys there. Now, Middleton was a first-round draft choice of the Detroit Lions in 1955, and he played for them from 1955 until 1960. And was the leading receiver for the Detroit Lions during the 55, 56, and 58 season. He actually caught a touchdown pass in the 1957 NFL championship game. Next card we have is card number 69, and that's Ray Renfro of the Cleveland Browns. He played for the Browns from 1952 until 1963, and was considered one of the fastest receivers in the NFL. And in fact, on the back of his card, it says that he was probably the fastest receiver in pro football. Now, for his career, he averaged a touchdown per 5.6 catches, which is just really amazing when you think about it. I mean, that's pretty incredible there. So he was kind of known as the Browns' deep threat to kind of get behind the defense and catch a long touchdown pass. Now, he put up really nice career numbers, too, a very solid career. He finished with 5,508 yards receiving, 50 touchdown receptions to go along with 4 rushing touchdowns, and he averaged an incredible 19.6 yards per catch, which just obviously is unheard of in today's game. He also is the father of Mike Renfro, who, for those who might be close to my age, might remember Mike Renfro played for the Houston Oilers and the Dallas Cowboys in the late 70s and through the 1980s, up until about the mid-1980s, I guess. And Mike was actually involved in one of the more controversial plays in NFL history. In the 1979 AFC Championship, in a rematch of the previous season AFC Championship, the Houston Oilers were trailing the Pittsburgh Steelers 17-10 late in the third quarter, and Dan Pastorini threw a pass to Mike Renfro in the back corner of the end zone, which, after a very lengthy deliberation by the referees, was ultimately called an incomplete pass. Now, when you look at the pass and the catch, to me it looks like a catch. Now, a lot of people think this was kind of the beginning of people really pushing to have instant replay so that the referees could get the plays corrected. And here we have a short print of the Chicago Cardinals, Don Stonecipher. He was commonly called by his teammates and people Stoney. He played 6 seasons for the Cardinals and was their all-time leading receiver when he retired. Now, unfortunately, he played on the really bad Chicago Cardinals teams. Even though they had some really good players, they were kind of lacking on the offensive line and the defensive line. But he was a favorite among his teammates. Next card we have is card number 71. Now, this is a Hall of Famer here. This is Stan Jones, and it's his rookie card for the Chicago Bears. Now, he played for the Bears from 1954 until 1965, and then finished his career with the Washington Redskins in 1966. He's credited as being the first player to seriously use weight training in pro football, which is kind of an interesting thing. He actually used it to build strength, and at the time, people thought that might not have been such a good idea. But one of the things that I really like about Stan Jones, now even though he's a Hall of Famer, he's often overlooked, and one of those reasons is because he was an offensive guard. Now, again, me being one of those people that kind of likes those overlooked players and things like that, I would personally like to see more guards in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Some of the guys that I would like to see get some consideration would be players like Ed Buddy of the Kansas City Chiefs, Dwayne Putnam of the Los Angeles Rams, Walt Sweeney of the San Diego Chargers, Art Spinney of the Baltimore Colts, and Abe Gibran of the Cleveland Browns. All of those guys, I think, were great at what they did, and I would really like to see them get a little more consideration for honors in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Now, Stan played in the 1956 NFL Championship that the Bears lost to the New York Giants, but then he also played on their championship team in 1963. And then the last card I'm going to show is card number 72, which is Jim Mutchler. He played for the Baltimore Colts, and this is just a great-looking card. I love the orange background with the really bold blue jersey here. And he played 8 seasons for the Colts and is probably best remembered for catching a pass in the 1958 NFL Championship game, which was considered the greatest NFL game of all time. He caught a pass in overtime at the 1-yard line, which actually set up the game-winning touchdown by Alan Amici. Now, interestingly enough, he kind of slid out of bounds when he caught the pass on an icy spot, but Johnny Unitas would kind of joke with him and say, "I tried to make you the hero, and you went out of bounds." And things may have turned out a little differently for him if he had been able to catch the ball and kind of turn upfield and kind of plow in from the 1-yard line. But he also did set one of the blocks that kind of freed Amici for that game-winning touchdown in the 1958 NFL Championship. So again, I hope you found some of these players interesting. I love talking about the guys that a lot of people have never heard of before or maybe forgotten. I like to keep their memory alive and hopefully encourage people to look at some of these players and collect some of these players. I appreciate everyone watching, and we will see you next time.